Hey guys, welcome back to Phil Plays TCG. Today I'm going to be doing something a little different, not your typical card stuff. Today we are going to be going over some hot takes of the Dragon Ball Super Fusion World card game from the players. I put out a post on the community page asking people to give me your hot takes of the game, and we're going to go over some of those. And some of these are interesting. I'm going to give my thoughts, my 2 cents on some of these, and yeah, talk about what people think about the game. But before we hop into it, make sure to hit that like button, make sure to hit that subscribe button, as we are so close to 2,000 subs, and I cannot believe we are so close. Oh my god. Thank you all for all of your support. It's been absolutely amazing. And also the new background here. Yeah, girlfriend helped me out with that, so thank you guys so much once again, and let's hop into the video. Alright, first we have Justin Nicholson here. The game is already dead. Unfortunately, that is a very, very common thing to say about this game because of... Unfortunately, the game did not have the greatest start. The game had very low amount of product, and a lot of people, of course, were still very upset and salty that they had converted the Masters online client to the Fusion World client, and I was one of those people. Like 100% not gonna deny that. I was one of those people. And it took me a while to get hyped up for the game, but really, the game is in a good spot. I think the game is in a great competitive spot right now. There's plenty of product now available, you know, so there's really no reason not to get into the game. I think it's just, unfortunately, a lot of people that are still upset what happened and how Bandai bamboozled them. And like I said, I'm one of those people. I was there during the Nationals 2022 and saw that, oh my god, we're getting a I'm sorry, not 2022, 2021, I believe, where we got that announcement, and or maybe it was 2022. Anyway, I get it, you know, but really the game is going to be as good as it's going to survive because there are plenty of people that want to play it. Now, of course, if you're somebody that refuses to play it because you don't like the simplified gameplay, that's fine. But the game is not dead. But it is kind of it's on the it's going uphill right now because we're just trying to build the community. We're trying to get people to give the game a chance. The game is not dead. Far from it. It's not Battle Spirits. All right, let's go with the next one. By Hector Manuel, the game is super fun. All the negativity is mostly coming from a hurt Masters community who believes Bandai did them dirty. Like I said, you know, I remember I was in my car on my lunch break when I saw the post about Fusion World being announced. And I was absolutely, you'll look on my channel, there's a video of me talking about it, and how pissed I was that they were essentially dropping the game for a whole new game, and essentially soft rebooting it. But it's, Fusion World and Masters can coexist. There are people that have played Fusion World that have gone on to play Masters, and there are people that used to play Masters that want to play a Dragon Ball game that have come to Fusion World because it's more their speed. There's benefits to both games, and really there's a lot of good. Either game you play, just go support a Dragon Ball game. Like, really, I love Masters. It's maybe not my cup of tea as much as it used to be, but I love Dragon Ball. I love Dragon Ball card games, so, you know, just give the game a chance if you haven't yet because you're upset about the whole debacle with the Masters client. Just give the game a chance if you haven't. It's really fun. Next, we have Michael here. You know, what's the term? Co-anchor on the channel here. He's got a big one. And I actually agree with this quite a bit. The game needed to continue pumping out 8 leaders per set for a couple more sets before going down to 4. The game became very stale, and especially if there are no real archetypes locked behind leaders. They could afford to offer that variability in leader cards. Even in set 3 with 6 new leaders entering the fold, the set and meta may get boring well before the next set comes out. So, I used to believe that, oh, you know, Masters pumping out 8 new leaders a set was too much. Like too much of each color got divided between two different archetypes. They would have cards that are specifically for each leader, and then they would have a couple generic good cards. And I thought, like, I'd rather just have one leader and a bunch of really good generic cards, and some cards specifically that work with that leader or an archetype. And I thought Masters was, thought Fusion World was doing a very, very good job of that, because, you know, they're not dividing up the card base between two different leaders. It's just one leader, one archetype around it, and then a bunch of generic cards. But I will admit, from the last two sets and the last two metas, the game does get very stale after about a month and a half to 2 months, because you basically, within the first month or so, we have figured out what decks work, what decks don't. We've essentially figured out what matchups are good into what decks. We've figured out the triangle, we figured out the meta, and then the next month or so is just of us kind of trying out new things, tweaking some things, you know, experimenting a bit. And then the final month between sets is really much just, is really us just hyped up and excited for the next set, because we're tired of playing the old cards. Set 3, I think, is a very, very good set, because one adds a new color with 2 new leaders. We get 4 new leaders once again, support for some older sets, but it does make sense that the leaders are... There's really nothing that separates the leaders on the front side, besides like, oh, this leader will awaken at 3 instead of 4. Like, the game has gotten stale in the last month of the last previous 2 metas, because we figured out everything. There was a bit of a breath of fresh air when Top Coup was nerfed, but it was quickly discovered that Androids was the best deck. Frieza was probably the second best deck. Beerus was up there, with Frieza. So I get it. I agree that there probably could have been some more variety in, like, more leaders. There could have been some more archetype-specific locked cards that just make you want to play a leader over another. But I don't know. I see the benefits of both sides, like having low leaders but more cards, or more generic cards. But then I can understand having more leaders gives you more variety, and variety is the spice of life, So I like this. I thank you, Mikey. Michael, for posting this. Next, we have Tyler Chuga Radcliffe. Or Chugga Radcliffe. The game is fun if you give it a chance and stay positive. Most of the community is negative, and that negativity helps suffocate the game. Also, I feel like right now the game is checkers, and eventually it will evolve into chess. So, yes, the game right now does feel pretty basic, because it's meant to. It's meant to be a game that's very quick to play, and there's not a whole lot of like high brain activity when playing it. And I mean that in comparing it to Masters, where like you had to be thinking like 5 turns ahead. You have all these cards with like a paragraph or more in text to remember, and there's so much more interaction in Masters than Fusion World. When in this game, it's meant to be just like quick, punching each other fest, and it is a fun game. It's a good time. But yes, I think a lot of people that kind of blew this game off at first were people that, like myself, who were mad that the game was being announced first off, and the Masters client was being changed to the Fusion World client. I got over that, because as soon as I started playing the game, I'm like, you know what? I enjoy this. I like this. It's a fun game. I can think about it. Like, you have to be smart to play this game too, but it's much more relaxing and more casual than Masters is, and that's what the game was supposed to be. And I think eventually the game will start getting more complex. Hell, we added in Barrier into set 3. Eventually we're probably going to be getting like Triple Strike. We'll probably be getting cards that interact with Barrier. Like, we're probably going to get dual color leaders. Let's be real here. The cards, like, if I can use an example here, with the Absolute Lightning, you have 3 cost card, but 1 blue energy required. So let's be real here. Oh no, did I just... this is the camera? Okay, good. We're probably going to be getting dual color leaders, which means we'll be able to start building decks with 2 colors. So that's going to open a huge world of possibilities for deck building. So the game is starting off slow and, you know, casual now, but it will be picking up later. I can guarantee it. Next, we have Derek Claren here, another friend of the channel, CCG Replay. Go format is the game Fusion World wishes it could be. So if you guys don't know what the Go format is, it's a format in the Dragon Ball Masters card game where essentially it only uses cards from sets 1 to 9 before the introduction of unisons, I believe. So it's a much more casual, like, you know, easier way to play the game because it takes out the unisons, it takes out the Z deck, and it uses the ban list from sets 1 through 9. And it's a really fun, it's a really fun archetype. I have a lot of fun playing it. I've played it a bunch with Derek, and it does harken back to a simpler time of playing Dragon Ball Super, and it's a cool format. If you haven't already, check it out. There's actually a huge page, I think there's a community page for it. Reach out to Derek if you do have any questions. It's a really cool format. Next, we have Nate Johnson here. The game suffocates the players by lack of interactivity and attacks. Simple attack negate tools are very important, and without them, the game offers very little counterplay or the ability to punish overextension. This is due to the resources that could be used to create those counterplays or punish the overextension are all used to just live a turn. Fusion World is very much the writing's on the wall once someone clearly has the card advantage. Yeah, this is a very big one, but I can agree. When you look at what your opponent has on board and you look at the hand size compared to yours, and there is a moment where you're just like, well, I'm going to lose. I can try to hold off as long as I can because that's all I can do. Specifically, I feel this way during green matchups because there is so little interactivity with Green's board because of the late game. Their late game consists of creating giant boss monsters that are damn near impossible to remove. Blue has one out to those big bosses, and it's absolute lightning. So Blue has to pay 3, it bottom decks a card, but the fact is that they could have multiple copies of that card in hand, so even if one goes away, boom, they play another one, and it's just, sometimes it feels like there is no out. And I feel like that is something that Fusion World does lack in comparison to its Masters counterpart, where there are a lot of ways to remove something. In Fusion World, there really isn't. That's why Green is the king of late game. And I do wish that there were more ways to interact. Like, I wish more colors had ways to interact with giant bodies. Because there are certain matchups, like Blue into Green, that are damn near impossible, or feel damn near impossible to win. So, I get it. I do think that there should be some more interactivity with the cards, and hopefully we will be getting that in sets 4 and 5. But thank you so much, Nate, for the comment. We have Ryan Denis oh god, I'm gonna butcher this. Dinistronsky. Sorry, Ryan. The 8-cost Broly is already power crept by the Cell/Cell Junior package. So I can agree with this statement. 8-cost Broly is a monster, and he's the best card in set 1 for sure. And then set 2 rolls around and we get a new SR Cell that on play blows up 2 cards in comparison to Broly blowing up 1 card. And while Broly can draw you a card, Cell healed you a life. Which, would you rather have an extra card in hand or an extra life? So like an extra barrier between you and dying. So I agree that, holy crap, Cell is such a good character. He's such a good card. And the fact is the Cell Junior combo is kind of busted because you can play Cell Junior now for free. He is a free 15k card, which allows you to grab an extra from your discard pile. Most of the time, people are going to be grabbing Destructive Strength, Gigantic Meteor. Sorry, I always get those two confused. Destructive Meteor. Gigantic Meteor. Gigantic Meteor, swing with Cell Jr., and pump the Gigantic Meteor, giving you that extra 25k, so you're swinging 40. So essentially because you have Cell on board, you can free play a 15k body, then you can swing for 40k with 3 energy. That's kind of gross. And the fact is, it's not a once per turn. So if you have 3 Cell Juniors in hand, you can play all 3 Cell Juniors for free. It's gross. I don't like it. I agree. I think Cell is a really, really good card. We have Joseph Becerra here. This game needs triggers to be a full feature-rich game. Ooh. So this is a weird one for me because I can agree that I think triggers can add a little spice to the game, but I'm also kind of traumatized from playing One Piece against the color yellow. Yellow is the reason I'm kind of falling out of love with One Piece. I love the game. I think the game is very, very fun. I like the style of game. The mechanics are really cool. But the problem is the color yellow and its obscene amount of triggers is just not fun. And I think honestly is toxic because yellow just has almost every card in yellow's deck is a trigger. So it's not a matter of if you're going to get a trigger, it's what trigger are you going to get. I think if you were to add certain triggers into the game, not make a color dedicated to triggers. God, no, please do not do that. If you were to just add a couple cards that have trigger, sure, I can be down with that. I can be down with that. The problem is making sure you don't cross a line where you're starting to add too many triggers. Like maybe if each set got like 1 trigger card, maybe 2, like per color, that would be really interesting. But a deck that's entirely based around triggers, that would be toxic. Alvaro Riaz. The game is really fun right now. Topku ban was handled pretty well. People who ask for more interactions or negates just need to take a step back and enjoy the game as it is. Just not want it to be another game. So I'll dissect this, if I can talk. Dissect this into 2 parts. The first part, Topku ban was handled pretty well. I think, yes, for the most part, Topku was handled very, very well. It's unfortunate that Kefla got hit as much as it did, but to be honest, they knew what they were doing because with the new support we got in set 3, Kefla would have been even more gross. So I think Kefla being limited to 1 was perfectly fair at this point. I think Topku overall was handled very, very well. Now, for the interactions and negates, I do think it wouldn't hurt to get a little bit more interaction, and I think we will be getting that later down the line. But yes, everybody wanting there to be more interaction in this game, just go play Masters. Like, maybe Masters is a little too much interaction, to be honest, but I think this game, being for what it is, I think is good. It's just meant to be more fun, casual, like punch each other. Now, I do wish there could be more, I do wish there could be maybe 1 type of negate attack, or like the fact that low-cost blockers would actually be usable in this game. But it does feel like, you're just attacking, comboing. That's pretty much what the game is. Alejandro Gomez, counterattacks wouldn't be bad on the game if designed properly, or properly designed. Agreed. Like we've been talking about pretty much this whole video. If you did it properly, like maybe if each color had 1 counterattack that was like a cost 2 to play. So it's more like, oh, your opponent left 2 energy up. Oh, they're definitely using a counterplay. Because there are activate battle cards, that are used during your opponent's turn. So you already, some decks do leave up that energy specifically to use those cards. So it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to add a counterattack, but you have to keep them very minimal. I think the reason why this game is so fun to a lot of people is because there is no counterplays. So you wouldn't be able to add like 1 counterplay per set, or counterattack per set. I would not want that. It just, I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below what you would think, or how you would think, how you would design a counterattack card. I don't want counterplay. Keep counterplay out of this. Hell no. I hate counterplay. Counterattack, though, let me know what you think in the comments. Alexander Bug Lawrence. Double strike is the most egregious keyword in the game and makes 2 life equal 1 life. The game needs negates, not floodgates. Negates to combat double strike is a keyword, or we need barrier blocker 1 costs, or we need to adopt the One Piece rule of 1 more hit after 0 to win the game. So, big comment here. I'll just dissect this here. I do think Double Strike is so much better in this game than it is Masters because of the lack of counterattacks that we have. Like I mentioned, blockers, low-cost blockers don't do anything. So, especially into red decks, which just can KO them super easily with their minusing abilities. Same with green, and green's ability to just, KO little things on the board. It's introducing barrier blockers, like 1 cost, would be really, really cool, because then your opponent would have to deal with them, but you would have to keep that minimal. You don't want to create too many, because then your opponent's just going to spam the board with a bunch of blockers, and then nobody can interact with them. I already don't like the fact that they brought barrier into this game so early, with no ways of interacting with that barrier, Now, yeah, no floodgates. Just completely get rid of floodgates. I don't like floodgates in a game. I've learned that now. I don't like floodgates. And this is and I used to play Android 21, which is the floodgate master. I also do think the One Piece rule of attacking your opponent 1 more time once they reach 0 life, that's actually a very good rule. I wish we could do that, because essentially the last card of your life is just a useless card. It could be a card that could save you the game. It could be a super combo. It could be a card that you need to play next turn to win the game. But because we have that stupid rule where once you hit 0 life, you're just done, I do believe that we should adopt that rule, that you have to get to 0 life, then swing in. It at least allows you to use every card in your deck, and I don't know. I think that's a good rule. Thank you, Alexander, for this comment here. Dan Reyes needs more interaction. We've kind of talked about that quite a bit in this video. I don't want counterplay. I hate counterplay so much. I do believe that there could be more cards that just allow you to interact with your opponent's board. Basically, yellow has the ability to tap things down, red has the ability to neg things down, green just KOs things, blue bottom decks. Each color does things specifically. Black kind of does a little bit of everything, but each color does interacts with the board in its own way. I don't know how else you would want to interact with the board. I just think like bigger bodies need some way of being dealt with. That's my biggest concern. But thank you, Dan, for the comment here. Warren Brueggemann, Brueggemann. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, sir. I'm still not sure how I feel about the no negates or very little counterplay as of yet. Like I said, like we talked about in this video plenty of time already, I do think that the game is really fun. It's quick, it's just a quick punch fest, but yeah, I can understand, counterattacks or negates would work great against bigger boss monsters, but please leave counterplay out of it. I really don't want to deal with that. Malcolm Boyd, there needs to be more interaction during either player's turn, but heavily limited. Agreed. It seems a lot of the criticism of this game is not being able to interact with your opponent's board during their turn. So if my opponent's doing things, I should be able to do something to interrupt their board. I do believe there could be something like that as long as it is handled correctly in a very limited way. I don't want another Masters situation. Play Masters if you want more complete interaction. Fusion World is not that. But thank you, Malcolm, for the comment here. Kyle Wilson, there's too much removal in the game already. So, interesting idea, because yellow doesn't really remove anything. Green KOs everything. Red removes things by negating them, by negging their powers, and blue bottom decks. But blue bottom decks primarily lower cost cards. Red can pretty much neg anything to death. I hate the stupid rule with red being able to neg everything down to 0, and that just gets rid of it, even if it has even if the card says cannot be removed by a skill. I believe negging is a skill, but I hate that. Let me know what you think in the comments. But very interesting, Kyle. I I think there's a lot of removal for low cost cards, but there's not enough removal for bigger cost cards. Hell, if there were cards you could play in your deck that says remove a 6 cost or more from the battlefield, that would be interesting. Not 6 cost or less. Next we have, I think this is the... oh, wait, never mind. This is the last... I don't know why. I think I saved this comment twice. But it's a good one to leave off on. The game is fun if you give it a chance and stay positive. Most of the community is negative, and that helps suffocate the game. Also, I feel like right now the game is checkers and eventually evolve into chess. We've already gone over this comment, but I think it really helps drive my point. Give the game a chance. There are starter decks out in the wild. Hell, don't even spend money. Just download the online client. Play some games. Just give it a chance, and it could be a really good side game. My brother plays Masters primarily, and Fusion World is his side game. I play Fusion World as my primary game, and One Piece is my side game, as well as Masters right now. Like, you can play a couple card games, but the benefits are there for Fusion World. We have a great online client. There's finally enough product out in the wild. Cards are, I think, cheap enough that you can start really blinging out your decks. We're getting more online events and offline events for this game. The game is growing, and I think that if you give it a chance, don't make it your main game, but if you at least give it a chance and you could have some fun with it and make a lot of really good friends and meet a lot of really cool people along the way. But hey, that'll do it for this video. Thank you to every single person that has commented. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to put every single person's comment on this. I didn't want the video getting too long. It's already getting fairly long, but I'll try to get you guys on the next Hot Takes video. I'll probably do it closer to set 4's release when I do another one. But hey guys, thank you so much once again to every single person that's helped me get to close to 2,000 subs. We're only about 40 subs away for the time of recording this video. If you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button. And thank you so much for helping me along this journey here. But we'll see you on the next video. Take care, guys.